A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend, Constitutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP. I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's L-E-N-A-R-D. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and an occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Welcome to another episode of Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. We're not going to really talk Christian. We're not going to really talk politics. Well, maybe a little of both mixed in, but we're going to talk Buddhism. Now, don't freak out. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't tune out. I'm a Christian. I'm staying a Christian. That's not to say Buddhism as a philosophy does not have some wonderful things to discuss. And to do that, joining me today is G. Scott Graham. Should I call you G or Scott?
You can call me Scott.
Okay.
Some people say G when they're like, gee whiz, what are you doing? But no, Scott is fine.
Okay. Yeah, welcome to the show. And let's start with the proverbial first things first. Cue the Who song. Who are you? Who, right? Where were you born? Where were you raised? How much time did you spend in prison? All those things.
I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, and I moved to Florida when my parents retired. I was born late in life, my mom used to say, and it was her surprise present. And went to 12 years of parochial education, Catholic education, graduated from the University of South Florida, moved to New England to work for Outward Bound. And that's where at some point I started working for the Department of Corrections, and a person encouraged me.
Oh, so you actually did spend time in prison, but as a guard.
Well, I was actually as a therapist and really helping. Vermont's got a very progressive approach to incarceration, which is we all could get incarcerated at some point. We made some bad decisions. Let's make sure you're going to not make those bad decisions again. And so they work towards people getting their degrees, high school degrees or other degrees, getting sober, those types of things that are going to just keep them out of prison. And so I managed a program that really focused on those things for the entire state at one point. I did go to prison.
Yeah, there's a little delay here, which is, of course, very Christian. I am very much for prison as partial punishment, but let's try to reform them and make them good members of society, set them up to succeed when they're out, not become habitual reoffenders and returning. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And then somebody at one point convinced me. He was another therapist in the program that I worked, and he was trying to convince me to go to take a Vipassana course, which is a prison, because you cut yourself off of society for 10 days. There's no talking, there's no reading, there's no writing, there's no music. You're in total silence for 10 days and spending most of those days with your eyes closed or in a little kind of meditation cell, which is kind of like a broom closet. And you only get a meal and a half a day, and you're really focused on meditating for those 10 days. And I've done enough of those that I've accrued 260 days of that type of prison under my belt. And I didn't want to go because I was like, this is some sort of cult. This is some sort of religious thing. And I discovered it's not. You mentioned it earlier when you said, hold on, don't turn off the channel. We're going to talk about Buddhism. Buddhism's a philosophy. It's not so much of a religion. We think of it as a religion out west. And there are some sects like Tibetan Buddhism has more of a religious spin, but Buddhism at its core is you could be a Christian Buddhist. There's no accept these tenets. There's no beings to worship. There's no religious values to believe. There's it's not like that at all.
You don't
It's
have to
really
make
grounded in.
Yeah, you don't have to make it such. Like you said, some do
Right.
actually worship the Buddha, and others view it as a philosophy. And meditation is one of those very positive health benefit, mental and physical wise things. I had on Jeff Patterson, we talked meditation without the Buddhist connection. But of course, automatically when one hears meditation, they think, Om, right?
It can be, but not really. I mean, in traditional Buddhism, there is not, you're not doing that. You're not doing that at all. There is no there is no prayers. There is really just strong determination and focus of your mind. That's what it is. In fact, the meditation place that I have trained at a lot, you would go in there, there's nothing there. There's no Buddhas, there is nothing there that you would look at and say, oh, that's what it is. It looks like just a big public hall of empty space. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Well, let me backtrack. Why is G. Scott Graham here? He's the author of Living the Eight Precepts, How Ancient Buddhist Ethics Can Help People. And for those viewing behind the scenes video, you could see he held up the book. For those listening on audio or reading the transcript, why aren't you watching the video? You'd have seen it.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, so when you sit down and you take a meditation course, you agree to follow 8 precepts for those 10 days that you're in prison. And they're Buddhist precepts. Traditional Buddhists follow 5 precepts. And then if you're on a meditation course, you'll follow 3 more to bring it to 8. Monks follow hundreds of precepts, and really they're geared towards right living. And so the book that I wrote takes those precepts and says, what does that look like in your regular life? Because the precepts are, let me go through the precepts. I'm going to put my glasses on here so I can I don't want to just make a mistake and not.
I do that often when I'm talking about my books on other shows. I'll pick up a piece. I can't memorize this. I wrote this, but I don't have it memorized, right?
Right. Well, I don't want to misquote those. So I'm just going to read all 8 of the precepts so that you can say, okay, is this, what are you saying here? Are you saying that you have to believe in this God or that God? So here's what they are. Number 1, to abstain from killing any being. Number 2, to abstain from stealing. Number 3, to abstain from sexual misconduct. Number 4, to abstain from telling lies. Number 5, to abstain from all intoxicants which can lead to carelessness. Number 6, to abstain from eating after midday. Number 7, to abstain from sensual entertainment and bodily decoration. And number 8, to abstain from using high or luxurious beds. Those are the 8 precepts.
And
that's it.
A lot of that is more or less embodied in Christian scripture too, although I have to take issue with number 1, abstain from killing anyone. Christianity, the commandment really in original Aramaic, Hebrew, Latin, and Greek is thou shalt not murder innocents. Because Exodus 22:2 alone speaks of someone, a thief in the night, dealt a fatal blow. You are not guilty of murder. You have killed, but that's not murder. So I definitely adhere to try not to kill anybody, but there are times it is forgivable. Self-defense, for one.
Yeah,
we're having technical issues with Scott.
The core piece of the
I need you to start over because your internet froze. You froze up. We just got a frozen screen there for a minute. Respond again. Do you remember what you were going to say?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.
I do. I'm just giving you a break so that you so the big piece about this is your mental volition when you do something. All of Buddhism is really focused on your mindset. And they tell this story. They say, someone goes and they go see a doctor, and that doctor is trying to save that person, and he takes out a knife and sticks that knife in that person, and that person dies. Somebody else is trying to hurt somebody, really bad ill will, and that person uses the same knife, same place where they stick that knife in, where the surgeon stuck it in. Both people died. There's a difference between that, and that's mental volition.
Absolutely. Yeah. Intent. Yes.
Absolutely. So it's not even so much of yeah, I guess intent is it. It's like, what is your state of mind? Are you full of anger? Are you full of compassion? Are you trying to be helpful? What is that piece? And it's not just focused on people. Someone could be really angry at their dog and have really ill intent and shoot that dog because they don't like how that dog's behaving. And that negative volition is just as bad as the volition of taking somebody else, shooting somebody, because it's not specifically the person, like a person's more valuable than a dog or a dog's more valuable than a fish. It's the amount of agitation and anger that you're creating in your own life that's creating the problem.
Yeah. And
that's an important distinction.
Yeah.
All of these pieces.
And I think actually your pause and almost desire to push back on my use of the word intent is good too, because indeed there's degrees. There's a difference between premeditated murder and negligent homicide, where you may not have intended to kill, but you did. You're then guilty of a negligent homicide in certain cases where there was no ill intent, but the result was the same. So, yeah, all those things factor.
Exactly. The same thing goes with telling lies, right? If somebody's coming to your house and looking to hurt your kids, and your kids are in the back room, and they say, "Are your kids here?" And you say, "No, they're not." Is that a lie? That your intent for that person is to protect them and care for them. But there's another piece that happens around lying that most people are incredibly sloppy with. We exaggerate. We're trying to look great with somebody else. We're kind of manipulating somebody else's perception. That type of, when it comes back down to the intent and the volition of your mind, that kind of lying is really hurtful. It's really hurtful for you, because in order to commit that lie, think about how much agitation you have to create, or what you're having to do in the background in order to get to the point to do that.
Yeah.
It's like, right? It's like speaking ill of somebody, right? There are some people that speak ill of everybody, but most of the time, in order to say, who is this person and who is this, they're this or they're that, and we call them all kinds of names. Before that even happens, the person who has to say that has to generate like a lot of internal agitation, a lot of internal misery, to be able to call that other person out. They're just a miserable person, right?
Yeah.
And that person really should have our passion, because if you're happy and you're loving, you're not going around calling other people names and being mean-spirited.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, right. You mean hyperbole, right? In the intent, and are you trying to puff yourself? I joke all the time. I'm not a hoarder, but I am a slob. I can be honest with myself and others about that. To say, "Oh, I'm not a hoarder," and just leave it that and imply let me. I always joke about the ugly. Look at all that garbage under the green screen there. I am definitely a slob. And right, the wife, now ex-wife, asked, "Do these jeans make me look fat?" "Oh no, honey." Right? Yeah, little white lies, and the intent, as you said, is of keeping the peace. And no, they don't make you look fat, but obviously you put on a few pounds, right? No, we just don't need to go there. It's about being pleasant and nice and coexisting. Uh-oh, you froze again. Okay, I am talking just to fill space because Scott has frozen again. I'm not sure if he's coming back. Oh,
Right.
now you're back. Okay, you froze again on me. Uh-oh. And he's frozen again. Oh, you froze again, but now you're back.
Now I'm not. I'm back. There we go.
Yes. Yeah.
No. So where were we? Where were we in this conversation?
Yeah. Well, I challenged precept 1, but ultimately we do agree. It's a matter of semantics and nuance and gray areas. And everything isn't always necessarily black and white. There are gray areas, yes?
That is true. And so I went ahead and in the book, one of the things I push around this is, what are those gray areas? You need to decide what that precept means to you, right? What does it mean to follow that precept? There are some Buddhist traditions that are so focused on abstaining life and not telling lies that they hardly even talk. And they walk incredibly slow so that they're not even killing any bugs. They wear masks like we had in COVID, so that they are not accidentally even inhaling bugs. They're very, very specific about that approach to life. And so you have to figure out what that means for you and how you're going to integrate that in your own life.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily black and white like you might see in some Christian writings where it says, this is it. This is exactly explicitly what it says. Or then you trace it back and you say, okay, it's not a rule book. It's an intent. It's a focus. That's why it says to abstain from killing versus thou shalt not kill. Right?
Okay,
As
yeah.
you might see that it's
right.
It's not a rule piece. It is a piece that is about your choice and the direction that you're going in and you want to go in your life.
Yeah. And that's why I make the clarification, though. It's not thou shalt not kill. It's thou shalt not murder innocents. The whole Bible in full context, there may be that rule, but there is other context that there can sometimes be exceptions to a rule, that gray area thing, and an aspiration to be the best we can be, but we're all human, frail, flawed, and indeed fall short. And like you said, the only way to not even accidentally say something you might not mean, because subconsciously, again, do these jeans make me look fat response, right? Oh, no, honey, right? Your nature is to sometimes, oh, what a pleasant day. Well, I don't think it's pleasant, but to be nice, I'm going to say, yeah, what a great day. It's just part of being conversationally, societally nice humans, the only way to avoid any lie, white lie or otherwise, as you said, is to sew your mouth shut.
Right. A core piece about that people hear over and over again around these pieces is to put these things in practice in your own life. And you hear over and over again in Buddhist writings, the Buddha said it, other teachers say it all the time, do not follow these paths blindly. Put these in place as a practice and see if it benefits you. If it benefits you, then continue to practice that. If it doesn't benefit you, then throw it out. Yeah. Most times you sit down and say, okay, how can I be better? Like, let's just take lying, right? Somebody might be an over-exaggerator and they find that is really driven by their own fear and insecurities. They're thinking about it. I mean, these things don't happen in a vacuum. Someone doesn't over-exaggerate. Someone doesn't have hubris. Someone doesn't lie about things when they have it all together. These things start because you don't have it all together. And so if you start practicing these pieces and then you find, wow, I'm not as agitated anymore because I've had to deal with those things that are fueling those behaviors. I have more balance. Then why wouldn't you want to continue doing it?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to continue doing it?
And again, like I said at the top, hope people didn't tune out. How does anyone have a problem with any of this? Right? I mean, seriously. I got to say, I'm worried about our connection issues. You keep freezing and going in and out. So I'm going to cut us a little shorter than I would otherwise do, and indeed urge the value in people getting your Living the Eight Precepts book. Do you have a personal or professional website people can go to?
Yes, they can just go to gscottgraham.com. They can just Google G. Scott Graham, and that should bring them right to all my books, information about me. I'll even have this podcast listed there.
Great. Sounds great. Absolutely. That's wonderful. Again, I'm sorry to cut it short, but I normally keep my shows to only 30 minutes. But with the connection issues, I think we've got out the main points we need to. And again, I
would agree.
I urge people, again, don't get hung up on the Buddhism thing. Buy G. Scott Graham's Living the Eight Precepts. Studying that, understanding that, agreeing with some of that doesn't somehow make you less of a Christian.
Well said. Well said, Joseph.
All right. Thank you again, G. Scott Graham. And I, of course, purposely keep repeating it to try to get it to stick in people's craw.
You too. Thank you so much.
Take care. God bless. Have a good one. Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM is your conservative flamethrower. Weekdays, Steve Gruber starts things off at 6 a.m. Gruber gives his perspective on the issues of the day. At 9 a.m., Glenn Beck blazes the airwaves with his nationally syndicated program. From noon to 3, it's Dennis Prager. At 3 o'clock, it's Wham's own Tyrone X. On the Edge, Tyrone tells it exactly as he sees it. At 6, it's The Dana Show, your conservative alternative. At 8, don't miss Joe Pags. Weekends are filled with conservative talk as well. Fingers Malloy, Thomas LeDuc, The Abolitionists Roundtable, A Moment of Clarity with Pastor Rick, Your American Heritage with Ed Bondarenka, Dave Janda's Operation Freedom, and Dick Kupke's Trigger Talk. You can even get links to Wham podcasts from Dave, Dick, and of course Tyrone, all from their pages on our website, whamradio.com. Keep it locked on Wham Radio, 1600 AM and 92.7 FM in southeastern Michigan, and whamradio.com anywhere in the world.